like, why can't I distribute myself? Is that something that's just not possible? I mean, would golf shops, I guess, not be calling me up? Do I call them up? Do I go sell this thing and ship out boxes myself? Like, is that feasible?
Well, listen, it's D, all the above. Good morning, inventors, and how are you? Look, just a quick note before the show. Season 2 of the Invent With Me podcast is brought to you by the Invent With Me Patreon. Odds are you've been listening to the show for a while now and you need more information. I don't typically agree with a paywall unless it's a situation in which there's not enough time in the show or there's just more tender love and care needed to get you to the successful point with your invention where you want to be. The sign-up process is incredibly straightforward. Just go into the show notes, click on the link for the Patreon, and sign up via their safe payment platform. $6 a month connects you to the Discord, which is stacked with current inventors as well as other professionals and myself. And together, all of us are going to make sure that your dream becomes a reality. All right, guys, remember, I took the punches so you don't have to, and enjoy this episode brought to you by the Patreon. Thanks. Hello, guys, and welcome to the Invent With Me podcast, where each week we guide aspiring inventors and product creators to turn their innovative ideas into reality. Learn valuable tips, insights, and success stories from people roughing it in the field of inventing so that you yourself can make your mark in the world. I'm your host, Grant, inventor of Torque Strap, a killer new spring-loaded cargo strap, a strap so easy to use, you just pull. And with me in the studio today is my good friend, Jorge. Jorge is the inventor of Stable Aim, and I can't wait to dig into this today because Jorge is a member of the Discord, and he's reaping the benefits of collaborating with all of us in there. And he had a question so damn good the other day that I got off of my seat, which doesn't happen very much, and I went and investigated it in my town. So what we're going to talk about today is fulfillment and warehousing for your product. But that's going to be a little bit later, so stick around. First of all, I want to get to know Jorge. So how you doing this morning, my man?
Doing great, man. Just out here in Arizona, living the dream. We got great weather right now, and honestly, just staying focused. And I think that's one of the biggest aspects of this, right? Staying focused, staying on track. But I'm doing good.
100%. Well, I'm glad to hear it. So walk us through. I want to give the audience some background. So you found the show. I think you sent us an email. And I said, you had some pointed questions. I said, hey, let's hop on a 15-minute phone call. We ended up talking for like 25 minutes. I was on my way to the gym, I think. But I really liked that. Yeah, I really liked your energy. I liked the passion you had for it. In fact, you said you had a mentor who you felt was sandbagging you and slowing you down. I'm like, well, maybe he or she knows what they're talking about because, yeah, they're kind of right. Let's walk before we run. So that's the background on how Jorge and I met. And then he joined the Patreon a couple weeks later, which I really appreciate. And that got you in the Discord, and now you're a member, and now you're a inventing son of a gun now. So tell me, what is the product and how's it going?
It's, the name of the product is Stable Aim, and it's directed at golfers. And as an avid golfer myself, for the longest time, I just could not, like most of us, I think, figure out my golf swing. And I, was determined. I was truly, truly determined to I'm going to be a good golfer. Like, it was probably like the only sport that I couldn't quite get, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
And, I just started getting back into golf last year after like a 4-year hiatus because I hated the game because I just couldn't figure it out. Standing in my kitchen, doing a practice swing, and I noticed my shadow on the floor moving. So then that was sort of the little light bulb. How do I get my head to stay still?
Ooh.
And then, that's where it went from there. Ran into, whatever I had right on hand, created my first prototype, and then I just knew I was onto something.
That's awesome, man. Good for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's the main product, right? It's going to be a golf product that's really going to help you with your stability and your balance and focus, alignment. I mean, I just think it's got so many benefits to the product, and I'm really excited about it.
Awesome. And where are you at with it now?
Oh man, it's been it's been what's it called, like a long road, but I think in this space, right, of inventing, you think you're headed down the right path, and then that path is totally not the right one. So then,
Right.
you just kind of have to, like, step back and then, pivot or whatever it is. But I feel like right now heading down a very, very solid path. Product is finalized. I have mold making going and overseas with my manufacturer. So we're looking at getting a bulk order to get this product out there. We have website built up. We're going to do e-commerce. I have a warehouse space now that we can get into a little bit later. And yeah, there's still some, that's one of the things I've learned about this is there is so many pieces. Not just because you have the product does it mean like, oh, I'm ready. Like, oh my goodness, there's so many. And you just go, learn along the way. And I think that's why so many people maybe fall off, right? They just think it's like way too much. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I shot a show yesterday that was interesting. Is a gentleman named Neil Twa. It released on the 17th, I think. Basically, he said that he explained why most businesses fail in year 5 and 6, and it's not in year 1 and 2 like most people think. And it's because they just weren't ready for all these aspects. But it sounds like you definitely have a handle on what all you think you're going to get into. We never know, and the road is not straight and it's full of bumps.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you have that mindset, and I didn't have that in the beginning. I thought, I'm going to make this product and I'll be profitable by Father's Day, but that's just not realistic. So cool.
Yeah.
So how far out are you from placing the order, do you think?
Oh, order's already placed.
Oh, good.
Looking at about, I'm hoping 70 days to have product here in the US at the warehouse that we have here, from today. So
Awesome.
I'm hoping that all goes smoothly. Again, obviously, there's going to be some bumps, maybe some delays or whatever. But all I know is that we're just waiting on the product to get here, and we're basically ready to, I guess, bring it and show it.
Yeah. Start moving that sucker.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. And that's one of the things. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, please. You said that's one of the things.
I was just gonna say I mean, as far as like, showing the product or getting it out there and all that, I feel like I'm ready to, but we're still tightening up some loose ends on the patent side and making sure everything is covered before we truly, open the lid on this thing and then, let it get out there. Sorry, that's where I was going with that.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. Now, explain to me why it feels more sensitive, because in most cases you file a provisional patent application and you have a year to file full patent. But during that, you have patent pending status after that provisional patent application. So where are you guys at in that? Because I know you don't want to show a lot, so just talk to me about the concerns there.
Well, it's what's it called? The utility patent, the provisional one. I submitted that already. But then I got to thinking and I was like, wait, I mean, do I need a design patent? Just because it does look like a unique design, and I think that's what that covers, right? I mean, if it's something looks truly unique, maybe people might stay away from it. But I understand that, I've done a lot of research in like golf stores, right? Like I'll go and look at products, which is something that I never thought I'd be doing, going around taking pictures of products on the shelves and trying to understand all these things, right?
Sure.
But you have golf tees, right? Golf tees, there's some brands out there that are like, oh, our golf tee is designed and patented. But then you have one right next to it that looks similar, but just changed a little bit different, right? So
Yeah.
I think, I mean, maybe it doesn't truly matter, but at least your unique design is protected. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I could speak a little bit to protection, being year 4 of the product, and I've touted that no one has really tried to copycat us as of yet. But we found on Amazon Mexico, we're not quite sure how or why, but there are torque straps being sold in Amazon Mexico. They have a 4.8 star rating. They have
Hmm.
over 100 or 200 reviews. So somebody's moving the product, and I haven't fully investigated yet. But at the end of the day, there's the only recourse is Amazon. Going after Amazon and saying, "Hey, we're brand registered. They're doing this." That my patent does nothing in this scenario because they're in Mexico. We could threaten them with litigation or whatever. They're just going to laugh it away.
Hmm. Hmm.
So what I'm getting at is there's a lot of ways to protect yourself, and there's a lot of unorthodox ways to protect yourself. There's not a lot of ways to protect yourself with the law besides.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I totally get you on that.
Yeah, so that's all I'd say about it. But I totally respect that you want to have those on lock. It never hurts, right? I don't want it to ever be an
Yeah,
impedance for someone who doesn't have the money to say,
exactly.
well, I'm never going to do this because I'm never going to come up with $8,000 for a patent. Never, never, never. I don't want that to happen. But you have a lot of faith in your product, and I do too, based off of everything I've heard, everything you've said. So you're
Yeah,
protecting your
yeah, yeah.
investment.
Trying to, and it's really like laying the foundation down, right? Just laying down the foundation to give me at least the best shot, right?
Hmm.
That's it's like this one shot I got, right? Why not try and do the best with it that I can, instead of not saying that it would be reckless to get out there early, but I think I just truly I'm being very patient with it, and I'm just trying to be careful and strategic. I think strategy is very important in this game,
Yeah.
and and just trying to do it like that. But we're gonna in like a month, I think we'll be out there
Sweet.
showing it.
Sweet. Well, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I've pictured this thing 100 different ways. I remember, I think it was the movie Caddyshack. He had, or no, it was with Kevin Costner. What was that one? Oh shoot.
Oh, that's it's not Caddyshack. It's Tin Cup.
Yeah, Tin Cup. Tin Cup.
Yeah, yeah,
The doctor was wearing the glasses with the ball hanging off of them and all her goofy hardware. He's like, just throw all this crap away. So I pictured this
yeah,
thing
yeah,
100
yeah.
different ways. I can't wait to see it. And
That's crazy. That's funny.
I think the space is incredible. Like I remember growing up, golf product infomercials were a huge part of daytime television. Like as a kid, and all kinds of products, and you see them, and like there was a golf club with 3 hinges in it. So if you backswung incorrectly, it would collapse on you. And no matter if the product works or not, it's riveting. It's like, wow, this could make me finally shoot straight. It's such
There
an
you
awesome
go.
market.
Exactly. And that's why I've been just like, I got to dig into this, because the market is huge. It's, the financial backing behind it is also pretty good. I mean, for the most part, I think people are willing to spend a little bit to try and get better. And you're right. There's so many training aids. I mean, the golf training aid industry is massive. I mean, the other day I was on Amazon just doing again research, and I found a whistle attachment that you attach to your golf swing, and if you hear the noise at a certain point in your swing, it means you're good. And I was like, okay, if someone can sell a whistle, I
Oh
can sell
my,
what
oh
what I
my
have.
gosh,
So
that's amazing. That's amazing.
yeah, yeah,
Well, yeah, that is incredible. I think the cool thing is that it's such a searchable product. So what you're going to have, you'll have the asset of plenty of people out there looking for golf aids. But you'll also have to find out how you differentiate with your keywords and the product. I mean, the whole suite has to be good from beginning to end. But talking about just getting the click at the very foundation of it,
Yeah.
you have to let
Yeah.
people know this is something new. It uses vision, it uses whether it uses shadow or whatever, like that will all get people's attention. So the eyes are there, the curiosity is there. It's fighting for people's attention. And we'll dig into that more in the Discord in a couple months after we see the product and after you start
Yeah.
taking
Yeah. We can
product
hop on and
photos and
yeah.
making your Amazon
Yeah.
photos. Yeah, we'll get into all that stuff. Awesome, man. Well,
Yeah.
so the reason for this show is you were in the Discord asking about warehousing. You found some common workspaces, some kind of, I call them hipster-ish warehouses where you come, you work, you drink coffee, you collaborate, and then you warehouse and you ship and fulfill. I looked at one salt box here in Miami. It was astronomically expensive compared to the warehousing I'm doing now. It was very hands-on. There was limitations, like you couldn't make over 60 decibels of noise. You couldn't do anything that created fumes. Like I could never cut a strap in there with my hot knife. So I was like, all right, so this is literally for people who order T-shirts from China and ship them. I don't know, but
Yeah.
you had
Yeah.
you had a different experience. So talk to me about how this all came up.
Well, yeah, I mean, out here in Arizona, so how it came up, right? I was just, thinking, launching the product where, and then, you think of like, okay, I don't know, I guess you just sort of go like, oh yeah, I'm going to get product and then I'm going to start shipping it. It's truly not that simple at all.
Right.
And more so with how many pieces you're going to have, right? I mean, if you're going to do maybe 1,000 pieces, yeah, maybe you could do it out of your apartment, but then you're talking, you got to package it, you got to, put it in the box, you got to tape it, you got to print labels, you got to drive down to the post office or whatever. So a lot of moving pieces. But the other one that I wasn't thinking of is if your product is coming on pallets, I mean, now you got to figure out how this truck is going to get into your apartment or,
Right.
your home or whatever. And then how is it going to get unloaded? I mean, am I going to have to like get in there, every box, get it down, put it in the little garage? And it just was so many other little things that I feel like maybe others might miss if you don't, think about it a little deep. So I started researching, found Saltbox. There was a couple other ones, Low Loft, and I can't think of the other one, but there was 3, and they all had the similar thing, right? They had that vibe, right? The like, oh hey, like we're all here. It's like a cool family, and it sounded really cool. I liked it. I liked Saltbox. They were for real, like bar and ahead of I think the other 2. They had all the services. They had all the nice amenities, I guess you would call it, right? To make it easy. And again, pricey though. It was still a little pricey, I think, for me out here. And for someone trying to launch something and you don't even know if your product's going to sell. Like for me, I have a lot of confidence, but who knows? This thing could flop, right? So back to the strategy piece. You just got to go, as inexpensive as you can to start. So after that whole experience, I just started, I sat down and I'm thinking, okay, like at the core of it, what's really important to have to launch this thing, right? And it was really, for me, a dock and space in a warehouse where I could store, and that was really it. So one of those places didn't have a dock, and I was like, okay, that's not going to work, because if I'm going to expand, right, I'm also trying to be hopeful that I'm going to actually need a dock to get a ton of product and whatever. So I started just looking around for other spaces, right? I was like, where can I find a dock and just space? Even if it's like an old, like a little, what do they call them? Like shopping mall centers, but like the small ones.
Strip malls.
Strip mall, yeah. Maybe, I was going to get lucky and find a little place that had a tiny dock in the back. So I ended up finding another warehousing solution. It's called CubeWork. And they were really bare bones. And that's what I was looking for, because it was very inexpensive, very price friendly. And it was just, here's your space. We're going to do like maybe like chain link chain link fencing around your space, and you have access to a dock, and then you do what you got to do. There was one drawback to that space, though, is there was no power in the warehousing space. But there's got to be solutions for that. I was thinking of other things, but we can get into that down the road. But that's kind of how I went down the fulfillment circle.
Awesome. Okay. Well, there's a lot of thoughts on that, and a lot of this just depends on how heavy you're launching. So, how many units did you order?
We're going with 10,000 to start.
Okay, that's a pretty hefty order. Yeah.
So, and I've been doing, ChatGPT is amazing. I love it. It helps me get an idea, right? I don't know exactly how many pallets I'm going to get, but it's saying somewhere around 6 pallets.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what it's saying. But, I'm prepared at least.
Yeah. So then definitely I understand more now, because I was thinking back to my beginning days. And if I go back, I'm like you, man, I would order 10,000. You know what you know now because you have the podcast and the Discord, and then you have ChatGPT. I was just listening to people say, "Oh, license your invention and collect checks." No one was helping in that space. But with 6 pallets, yeah, I do think you need a space. I think the average inventor is going to order probably 1 or 2 pallets. And for them, I would just quickly say 1 or 2 pallets, even if you live in an apartment complex, deliver it to your buddy's address with a house, rent a pickup truck from Home Depot for $30, and put them in a storage unit for $100 a month. That will get you through your first foray. It's going to take you 4 months to sell through that inventory. So for $130, you can house and store, and then just bring stuff up to your apartment, bring 300 units at a time, whatever. It's work, it's hustle. But that's how you go at it really, really efficiently. But the efficiency scale tips when you're at Jorge's range, where you have 10,000 units. Now the scale tilted, right? So now you're on the more efficient side, because you think, okay, how much lugging around, how much time am I really going to spend with all this product? It needs to be succinct, ready to go, and we need to have an action plan. So I love it. I was scared at first, but now I totally get it. The other half of that, the other half of that is there are fulfillment centers that will store your product for you and pick it and pack it and ship it, and you never even have to go there. Did you look into that? What are your thoughts on that?
I haven't looked into that too much, only because I think so. Here's the other thing about the space that I leased out is a 3-month lease, so it gives me an out should I need to pivot and get into one of those spaces. Should the thing go really well and all that. But if it doesn't, at least I have my own space still that I can continue to fulfill my own. So I think, that's for sure down the line. Maybe like to, or is my product simple enough to fulfill myself, and maybe set up a little fulfillment operation, where I hire maybe some, staffing agency to provide a few personnel, and then just, ship it out on my own. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Well, I think it is more efficient to do it yourself. If you're thinking about hiring employees to do all that, then I think it's less efficient. Then I think in that case, I think it's more efficient to just pay a third party to do it. I'm going to read you my invoice from last year from my LA warehouse.
Okay.
So they're currently storing 63 pallets for me. So that would not fit in your space, I'm assuming. So quite a bit of storage. They're storing that at $20 a pallet. So in entirety, I spent $1,200, almost $1,300 in storage last month. It's not cheap. I mean, $20 a pallet is cheap,
right? But
at 63 pallets, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Wow. And then we have the labor to fulfill orders was $1,700. How many orders that was, I don't know. That's probably somewhere in the realm of 700, 900 orders. and then postage and some other fees. So my entire bill for fulfillment in February was $3,019. So where you would save is obviously storage. I'm assuming your warehouse space is less than $1,200 a month.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So the space that I got is about 400 square feet, and I'm paying about $600 a month for that space.
That's great.
And that also includes a little, like little office there as well. Um, so yeah, that's kind of, I guess, how I thought of it is like it's at least going to hold storage if I need to, and maybe that's it. That is my storing solution, right? When I decide to go on into 3PL or something. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, cool, man. So, I mean, what I'm getting at with this invoice is to really run lean. And I think I know you really need to run lean your first couple of years. I think just you in that warehouse, maybe your mentor, partner, whomever it is, helping you pick back and fulfill. But I'll also say, going back to this invoice, 800 or 900 orders, it costs $1,700 for me to not have to touch those. That's significant.
Right.
That's probably less than 8. We have 2 warehouses now, so it's split. So this is probably like 4 or 500 orders. Okay, 4 or 500 orders would kill me. I don't know how much that is a month, but I mean, even if it's probably somewhere around 30 a day, 3 times 3, 9, maybe 20 a day. Anyway, just that would just kill my day. I wouldn't be able to do the podcast. I wouldn't be able to do a lot of things. I wouldn't be able to shoot videos. You won't get there for a while, but what I'm saying is there's always these different tilts and tipping points. You have an out with your warehouse. I think it is the perfect place to start. And it is Jorge fulfilling orders, paying no labor fees, paying no employees, nothing like that. But you got a lot of other work to do too. I mean, you got to get orders to fulfill orders.
Exactly. They're not just going to come. I know that for sure, and that's kind of where we're at. I think it's a product that should do well when it's out there in regards to marketing. It should market itself, right? It should be something that you see and you're like, whoa, what is that? Oh, where can I get it? So I'm hoping word of mouth, will help us there. But obviously, we're going to do some, marketing stuff as well. So, yeah.
So
and maybe it'll. What's that?
So be specific. How are you gonna when these pallets land in your warehouse? You have the oh crap moment. What's the first thing you do to start moving them?
Well, so I think in April, actually, we're gonna start like opening the what do you call it, the website, right? Because right now we have like password protected, but open it up and then people will at least see what the product is and see what it is and maybe generate some buzz, and hopefully we get some people starting to sign up for like a pre-order or whatever it is, but at least it's out there, right? They know where it is. I'm also in April going to start looking for maybe some connections at local golf ranges, local golf courses, and see if I can start, getting my product into their shelves. And I know that's a whole other ball game, right? But I think it'll be a learning curve on that aspect as well. But also, I think they'll see it as an opportunity for revenue. And from what I understand, golf courses are always looking for, something extra to make some revenue. So
okay,
I'm
great.
banking on that. And if not, at the very least, just promote it and maybe do like a, what's it called? Like a partnership with a local golf course and do like, hey, can I do like a launch event or something, and do like a little tent or something out there and, just start getting the product out there. And this would more than likely just be on weekends because, yes, during the week, I'm probably going to have to be doing, fulfilling or being at the warehouse to, get these things out. So, yeah, my time is going to have to be very balanced in how I use it.
Yeah.
And early on, at least.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so talk to me about social media because that is the low-hanging fruit. That's the first time. But you talked about opening this website and then people will be aware of it. No one's going to
Hmm.
go to this website organically. I promise you. You'll either have to
Yeah.
be doing your promotions at the golf course or doing free promotions on social media. Beyond that, you're going to have to pay for it with influencers or other marketing channels, which I don't quite know of. So, talk to me
Hmm.
about social media.
Social media, I've been bouncing back and forth, right? Like, do I want to do, like a marketing team where they, do these videos and all that, or do I just want to be, an organic, and I don't know, influencer, is that the right word? But
That's kind of
really
what I
putting myself
am.
out there, me promote, yeah, like promoting my own product and just being real with it, right? Like, hey, like, I don't know, getting doing short posts about day in the life, what's going on. Here we are. Here's the product. Just truly organic, stuff. Using it out there, promoting it myself, and just I guess uploading content myself.
Yeah, I mean, I got to admit, you even sounded apprehensive and a little bored with your idea right there. Day in the life, something, something. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if it was me, I'd be really hyped about launching this product.
Uh huh.
And my first video I would do is I would buy the 3 goofiest looking apparatuses on Amazon. Okay. I'd put them all on: the goggles, the vest, the whistle, the hinged club, and I'd be standing there, perfectly framed in camera, about to send one down the fairway, or probably not send one, and I would
Yeah,
rip
yeah.
all this junk off, and I'd say, "Stop blowing your money on gimmicky crap like this when all you need
Uh
is this. Pop it
huh.
on, and then just tee off on that sucker." That's a 6-second video that's riveting. You got my attention. It's top of funnel. And then go from there. Read the
Yeah,
comments, read the hate,
yeah,
read the bullshit,
yeah.
and then feed off of it. Somebody, yeah, but it won't help you do this. Oh, actually, it will. Thanks for my next video idea. Right.
Right,
So,
right.
I know I'm bullish in that space, but I would definitely have fun with it, man. And don't throw shade. You know, pick your mark. Like
Exactly.
I mentioned buying other people's products, but don't ever disparage their name specifically, and go for products that are kind of more fair game. Like they're definitely straight from China junk or whatever, and
Hmm.
everybody
Hmm.
knows it. But if
Hmm.
it's like a
Hmm.
direct competitor who's respected, that's probably a bad mark, because I guarantee you guys will cross paths one day.
Right, right, right.
I
Yeah, I
talk.
mean, sorry. As far as like that type of strategy, I think it's really I'm just gonna stay in my lane, man, and do what I do, and
I hear
at
you.
least not try to make any bad friends early on, and I think it'll just speak for itself. It truly will.
It will. It
Um,
will. It will
and
not,
yeah,
Jorge. I'm sorry.
no,
Products don't
okay,
speak. They have no voice.
uh-huh.
No, better known always beats better product.
Okay,
So
okay,
whatever you
good
can
to
do
know.
to
Yeah,
make it
yeah.
known, to get it in front of people, that's the only way. I was just talking to Jason Voyevich from, I think he was on episode 40ish. I don't know how we use history to beat the odds. Anyway, he said we have to have a big stick. It's something his dad told him. If you're going to churn butter, you have to have a big stick. And in our space, we have to have a big top of funnel. We have to get a lot of people thinking in their ether, Googling, YouTubing our product and our name. It takes 7 times for somebody to make a decision. So the idea that, some word of mouth here and there, buddy, you got 10,000 units. I don't care if you live in the Phoenix area, that's a
Hmm.
lot of
Hmm.
product to move,
Oh yeah.
and you got to do it in a short amount of time. So
Hmm.
get rid of
Hmm.
the idea that it's going to speak for yourself. You are the voice.
Yeah,
You are the
yeah.
one getting it out there, and you got to drive that sucker.
I think cost as well, right? Like, so, like, let's say, I have, so can we talk a little, I don't know if this is, I'm sure it has been covered, in some of your episodes, but like cost, right? For like running an ad or something like that. I think that's where I haven't dove too much into because I don't want to see how expensive it's going to be for this operation,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let's. It's a great idea, and we've probably broken it down a couple times, but we do a lot of content, so it's impossible to remember, right? So let's talk about cost. Do you have any idea how much you're going to sell this for? If you listed this on Shopify or on Amazon, what would the retail or what would your listing price be?
I'm looking at $25.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. $25. Is this a really lightweight item?
Very lightweight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So at $25, just to list it, we're going to use Amazon because they're kind of the gold standard for marketing costs. Let me flip my paper over here. $25. Do you have a calculator or a phone around?
I do.
What is 25 times 0.15?
$3.75.
Okay. So you're going to pay $3.75 in commission, basically finder's fee on Amazon. Okay. And then your fulfillment price, if you do FBA, which you should with something as light as your item, they're going to fulfill it at about the same cost. So they're going to ship this to customers at about $4. Okay, so we have.
Does that include shipping and all that?
Yeah,
Like
so the $3.75 is your 15%. I can't think of the damn word, platform charge, basically, and then the $4 is to ship it anywhere in a day. So that's pretty badass. That's pretty cheap. So basically 25 minus 8, we're at $17 now. Okay. So now we went from 25 down to 17. That's with no marketing. Ideally, we would spend about 20% of the total price, $25. Ideally, we would spend about another $4 on marketing for that item. So 17 minus 4 is, it's not a trick question, 13, right? I don't do math. All right. So $13. Okay. So that's kind of a good principle is I'm going to pay 15% to Amazon just to kiss their butt. And then I'm going to pay another 20% probably to ship that item if it's light. Yours is going to ship for $4, maybe a little less. It's very light. And then I'm going to pay another $4 in pay-per-click advertising on Amazon, blah, blah, blah. So that took us from $25 down to $13. Now, we don't have to talk about your cost, but my hope is that your cost is $5 or less. And therefore, you would be making about a 60% net profit margin on that transaction. That's a good profit margin. However, it's still $13, right? You got to move a lot of them to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's where 3-packs can be beneficial, which it doesn't sound like yours is pack friendly. But that's where add-ons can be beneficial, increasing that average order value. But to answer your question concisely, about 25% of your retail costs, or 20% of your retail costs is what you would want to invest in marketing, which for you is about $4, $4.50, something like that. Does that help?
That does help. That does help a lot, for sure. And I think it's, something that I have to start getting strategic about right now, but going for sort of a grassroots approach at first, and if things start to slow down or it's not coming in, definitely look into all right, how do we pivot and use, because there are some funds right still, so that we can push whatever we need to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and then look at it this way, because you're not always going to sell on Amazon. You want to do a lot of face-to-face with these golf shops. I love that. Based on, you now know what you're going to pay to sell on Amazon, which is the most efficient selling platform in the United States. You're essentially going to spend $8 a unit is just going to fly out the window. So if you find a golf shop to order 100 of them, which is a lot, they probably won't order that much. But for simple math, if you find a golf shop to order 100 of them, that just saved you $800 in Amazon fees. So that's worth spending.
Exactly.
And once you got the shop, you got them. That's it. It's over. You know, they're going to keep buying from you for life as long as you continue to do your job.
Right,
So
right.
that
And
can
to
be
be
very
honest,
attractive.
my main goal, one of my like goals with this is to be a product that is more of a foot is that the right word? Like a foot traffic product?
Sure. Yeah.
Like golf stores, golf ranges, golf shops, something where you're in there and like, oh shoot, I better not forget this, because I lost my last one or whatever it is. Like I guess I'm kind of comparing it to the golf glove. How many
Yeah.
gloves have you purchased on Amazon? I don't think.
No.
I think you just get to the course and you're like, oh, I need a glove,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my approach is.
I think that's really smart. And you know this market better than me, and you're really turning me towards that. So let's talk more about that and how do we attack it. All right. So golf shops, being on the shelves. All right. So the first thing that comes to mind is get into a couple local shops. It shouldn't be too tough. You're selling, it's selling. Selling is an ugly thing. It can be beautiful if you love it, and if you hate it, it can really be a monster. I personally don't love it, but now I can do it in my sleep. Now I walk into a into a motorcycle shop, and they're selling to me. But that took a long time and a lot of confidence. And
Exactly.
the confidence came with all my marketing efforts, social media, so much hate on social media, just vile, visceral comments, and it's like, dude, there's nothing.
Jeez, it's like that.
It's
my
it's
God.
100%. Well, when you market the way I do, it's like that. You can be more respectful and humble about it, but you won't get any views. That's the trade-off. So you pick. You can be the nicest guy in the world that no one's heard of.
Emotion.
Yeah, you have to incite emotion. You can be the nicest guy in the world that no one's ever heard of, or you can be kind of an asshole who sells a lot of product.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a balance, but I haven't found it. So what really comes to mind is after you've gotten into a couple shops, you've refined your sales pitch, find a distributor. Start asking ChatGPT, hey, how would I find a golf distributor who distributes to a lot of shops in Arizona or a lot of shops on the West Coast? Because generally speaking, you have these distributors. You've seen them, the big food trucks on the interstate and blah, 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 Johnson & Johnson distributors or Willie Family Food Distribution. That's how most shops get their product. Because put yourself in a store owner's position. Guy opens up a golf shop. He just wants to help people golf. He just wants to sell clubs, right? He doesn't realize, oh my God, I got to pick out every single tee I carry. I got to pick out every glove I carry, every ball I carry, every divot popper, all these knickknacks on my counter. What they do is they go to one distribution company that distributes golf product, and they just say, dude, I got a golf shop with empty shelves. Just give me a suite of like a month's supply of golf shit. And they're like, okay, yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
now distributors work funny, and that's where you kind of talk to ChatGPT. Could be different for golf. It's much different for golf than food, for example. They're all different. But what I'm thinking is you'll find, let's call them Johnson Golf Distribution, and they'll be out of somewhere around you or maybe a different state, doesn't really matter. And they'll say, okay, Jorge, we have a lot of shops we could sell this to. Just show us your material, show us what the product is, send us a couple samples, and when we do our rounds, we'll start to pitch it to retailers and gauge interest. Once they know that they have a big interest, they will say, okay, well, we're just going to buy it from you wholesale. Now, the question is, how much are they going to buy it for? And remember, when you sold it on Amazon, you thought you're selling it for 25, but you're actually selling it for 13 after bull crap. So with that logic, and since they're buying in bulk, you could also sell to them for 13, and that's not a bad deal. So they buy it for 13, and then they turn around and sell it to the retail stores for 25. They get to make their they can't sell it to they sell it to the retail stores for like 16. then the retail store has to eventually sell it for 25. So the distributor just kind of in the middle, greasing their pockets, just like, I'll take it from you and give it to them, and I'll take the $3 in the middle, and we're all good because you can work on what you like to do, marketing or promoting, whatever. That's kind of the quick and dirty of distribution.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, middleman.
Yep.
I guess you would say.
Yep.
Interesting. That's a good piece of information there. I wasn't really quite sure on that one. I got to thinking, like, why can't I distribute myself? Is that something that's just not possible? I mean, would golf shops, I guess, not be calling me up? Do I call them up? Do I go sell this thing and ship out boxes myself? Like, is that feasible?
Well, listen, it's D, all the above. It takes a lot of time. These shops, even if they're think of the most popular public course in Glendale, Arizona, or the greater Phoenix area, they may initially, that one course golf shop may initially order 25 of your product, and then the refills are only going to be like 13 products, or like, hey, we're getting kind of low, we'll just take 10 more or something like that. Like, it's going to be, so for you to spend all that time trying to nail down a client, and eventually they're only ordering 13 units a month at $13. So you see where the volume game is so important here. And that's the value of a distributor. I mean,
I see.
If I could
get quicker, I gotcha.
I mean, you're just trying to turn around the product quick, and that's what makes it efficient. Because the longer you sit on the product, the more you pay that $700 a month in storage. The more time you spend fulfilling and all that, because you're trying to sell direct to consumer. If I could get 10,000 units, and my total cost was $50,000, and in 3 weeks' time, I could turn that into $130,000, and then I could place another order and keep doing this process. It's never that beautiful, but that's the logic. It's like, okay, I only spent 1 month of storage. I only spent 3 weeks of time, and I grossed $80,000 or $70,000 off of this transaction. That's the beauty of distribution.
Okay.
It takes them time too, because at the end of the day, shop owners, they're cool, but they're skeptical. They've been burned. They have to pay money up front for this product. They need to know it's going to move. And that's where your marketing, that's where your social media, that's where your website, Amazon presence is very important for this. Because I've sat in a lot of meetings where people are like, well, if I put this on my shelf, how do I really know it's going to move? I'm like, Dick, do you have Amazon? Go read our 600 reviews. Look at the little tag that says 300 plus bought in the last month. This shit moves. And when it's on your shelf and you're representing it, and then you add legitimacy to the product because you're a reputable golf shop, it's going to move twice as fast. But it's hard just being Jorge. Hey, I just got this product. Would you try it? What do you think? This is the price. Okay, yeah, let me know. They'll never call you back. So
got it. Yeah,
you got to be strong. You got to have a strong product.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm excited. Nonetheless, for all aspects, all avenues that are coming my way, and I feel pretty confident. I'm ready, and I think at the end of the day, I'm getting a shot. To try something new and see how it goes, and I'm excited.
Good for you, man. Yeah. Good for you. Well, you're going to do well because you're in the Discord, because you have us as a resource. Watch this episode back, absorb it. This stuff will all click when it clicks. It doesn't all have to make sense today, but it's important that it's in your ether and it's up there spinning around, because one day it's going to connect and it's going to click and it's all going to make sense. And that's what's important. So one day at a time, one step at a time, you're going to do just fine.
Right. I think the name of the product helps me every now and then, like, the stable aim. Sometimes I'm like, all right, man, just keep it stable.
Yeah.
Just stay in control, stay focused. And it really helps me get kind of that mindset, right? Just like, all right, like one day at a time, don't get out there and then, get in, I don't know, like maybe like panic mode. It's like, hey, we're gonna keep riding this wave, and just stay on the board. Don't fall off.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All
right, good for you. So anybody listening, if you want to connect with Jorge, that would happen through the Patreon, which will link you to the Discord. Really easy to connect, and together we can all work on our projects. But with all that to be said, Jorge, what has been like your favorite tool or asset lately that has helped you move progress along? Any AIs, anything
Oh, I
like
gotta
that?
say, yeah, AI, GPT, man, that has been to me a great resource. And it's funny because, like, early on in this whole process, someone once told me they were just like, "Oh, you use GPT for this kind of stuff?" Like, oh, people would laugh you out of the room if you were using Chat GPT. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Okay.
But I've just learned so much using Chat GPT. I mean, sure, you got to cross-reference, right, some of your resources and
Yeah.
some of the information that you get out of it, but for the most part, it's pretty accurate. So I would say that tool for sure.
I don't even know why I asked that question at this time, because everyone's answer is ChatGPT or
Yeah,
some variation thereof. But
yeah,
I'm glad you're reinforcing it. I tell people, talk to that thing like it is a close friend, because there's no
truly.
limit. We live. You ever talk to your grandpa on the phone and he talks really fast, and it's almost like he's trying to hang up before he even before the conversation even gets going? That's because they grew up in an era where it cost a lot of money to be on a telephone. I do the same thing with my kids. They'll leave something on, and I grew up in the area where batteries only last for 5 minutes. Now batteries last for hours and hours on end, right? There's a lot of people stuck in that mentality of, oh, I'm going to ask it one stupid question. If I don't love the answer, I'm going to close it and not get back to it. Talk
Uh-huh,
to
uh-huh.
it. Spend time with
Yeah,
it. Let
man.
it
Oh
learn.
gosh. It's so good. It's like the best $20 a month I think you can spend. I mean, for someone that's trying to, I don't know, maybe do a business or whatever it is. If you're creative, I mean, just even if you just want to talk to it as a friend,
Yeah,
whatever. I think it'll
seriously.
be helpful. But I've used it for like the pallet thing, right? Like, hey, here's my dimensions of my package. How many can I fit in a carton? And it goes blah 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 blah. It's an estimate, right? But
Yeah,
it gives you an idea. And
yeah,
then off of those cartons, like, okay, how many of those can I fit on a pallet? And then it breaks it all down, and like it just gives you an idea. Maybe it's not going to be 100%, but it's going to be close, and that's important to, you know,
yeah.
yeah,
No, definitely. I've done it. I've used it the exact same way. You're using it perfectly, and I'm very glad to hear
uh-huh.
that.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, then, all that to be said, I will let you hang up, and I'll close out the show, brother. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thanks a lot, brother.
All right,
See
Jorge.
you.
Take care. All right, that was Jorge of the Stable Aim. I'm really excited to see that product because I've been as soon as I hit age 30, I got the case of the shanks that I cannot get rid of. So Jorge, counting on you, buddy. Hey guys, remember, Jorge and I took the punches so you don't have to. Use that, grow with it, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.